What's up, Sports A Delic? I got a treat with you guys tonight. I got Cowboys Nikki coming at you guys from Three Stars Talking. We got a whole lot to talk about. I don't normally invite women on this show unless they know sports. So that's why she's here. And we got a whole lot we're going to talk about. Come on over here in the studio. Let's get with it. What's happening, Nikki?
Hey, good afternoon. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Happy New Year, Happy New Year. I appreciate you, taking time out to, keep me up to date because that definitely had slipped through the cracks. What's going on with Nathan Hobbs over there with the Raiders? You know, I just, we're going to talk about three things. We're going to talk about the Raiders. We're going to talk about Antonio Brown, and we're going to talk about what you feel that's going on, with your team, because I get frustrated with certain fans also because they always trying to tell me what's going on with my team. And I'm saying, do you know what's going on with your team?
Right.
That type of thing. And then I don't really care what you say. I just want somebody to always know what the hell you talking about.
Right.
That's all I care about. But Nathan Hobbs. See, what is going on with the Raiders and these players and these DUIs? Was Ruggs not enough to say, you know what? Now, here's what I'm thinking. Since this happened right when they returned, do they need to probably cut these guys off when they flying? Like, are they just letting them get in the car from the airport, knowing that they didn't have, you know, 10 or 12 drinks? Like, what do you think?
Um, for me, I think it's just stupid on behalf of for one, the player himself. Two, I think it's carelessness from the team. So if they are on flight and they are drinking on flights, um, yes, in that sense, then the team should be responsible to make sure that these players are home when they get off planes if they're giving them drinks on planes. Now, I know that sometimes, as players, as men, they think that they can do as they want. They feel like they just won a game or however, and so it's party time. For me, I think it was the right move to Vegas for a lot of these players. I think Vegas was the right move.
It's funny that you say that because my producer is just saying, Vegas, young guys, women, a lot of money, fame. It's just a bad
It's a bad
dose.
combination,
Yes.
and if they not matured in that level yet, that's not the right place for 'em, you know.
Right.
A lot of these players feel entitled, and they
Hmm.
think because they play in the NFL, they play in the NBA, they Major League Basketball, Major League Baseball, they feel that they are untouchable. Or once I say my name and I say the team that I'm playing for, I'm gonna be okay.
Right.
But what some players don't understand is that it ain't even your name. It ain't even who you play for. It's who you are.
Bingo.
And
And just the hell with the family name. Like, does that name on the back of your jersey not mean anything? That you're representing, your lineage at the
right,
same time. And then Nikki, let's not forget. Now, we had Rugs. That was 2 months ago,
hmm
and one day before the year anniversary of Josh Jacobs' DUI arrest, which we had forgotten about.
right,
So there is obviously something going on with the young guys on this Raiders team and Vegas. And how much veteran leadership is there.
Right.
And they've gone through a lot. You know, you had Gruden, that whole thing.
Email thing.
Yeah, and you have this going on with the players. In the midst of this, there was trade talks with Carr, and they kind of put him on the bench for a minute, and just drama all over the place. Now you have a critical game Sunday, a must win against the Chargers to get in the playoffs after
Right.
all of this. And then now you have this distraction. And thank God it wasn't as, traumatic as what happened with Ruggs.
Right. Right.
But this guy, Nathan Hobbs, now he leads, he's fourth in tackles on this team. Now,
Right.
the reason why I'm bringing that up is because this is a 4th round draft pick. He got 67 tackles, in his 15 games that he's played in. And they felt like, man, in this nickel corner, we have really found a gem. But 4th round, we know you ain't making that type of money to be doing this tomfoolery. Right. Why they always talking about women after their money? But what are you doing to protect your money with this level of stupidity?
Right.
And I still say, I did a video about, the Ruggs thing. Hey, they provide a car service for these guys. Why they don't want to use it, Nikki? Why?
Yep. And I don't know if it's because, again, entitlement. You don't feel like you need it, or you feel like it's okay. Now, granted, I know he fell asleep driving. He fell asleep in a parked vehicle. I mean, that alone told you that you should not have been behind the wheel. You already seen what has transpired with your ex teammate,
Right.
what he's dealing with,
Right.
and again, I know Ruggs. We know it wasn't intentionally.
No, of
But
course not.
in a way, it becomes intentionally, because right from wrong.
This
It's
is
common
true.
sense. It should be common sense. And I don't want to hear the and it's true. Drinking may do impair your thoughts, but as grown men, or as men that want to be treated as grown men, you have to act as such. You have to act responsible. You have to be responsible. And no one is telling y'all can't drink. No one is telling y'all can't party. But it's a level. It's levels to it.
Right.
It's discipline to it. So for me, that tells me that there was no hard discipline or no hard rules set in place for these players after this happened with Ruggs.
Bingo.
Nothing was brought to the table. Nothing was brought to a meeting and said,
hold on, my little puppy is wilding out here. The dog has been drinking, okay, but he's safe at home. He's not out here in these streets trying to impregnate some of these little miniature poodle chicks, okay. But I agree. Wait, hold on. Stop. Come here. Hold on, Nikki. I apologize.
okay.
Come here. Say hey, Nikki.
Hi, poodle.
This is Chocolate, and Chocolate is wilding out. But I'm gonna have to have Chocolate put up because Chocolate is doing too much right now. Like I said, he's clearly had too much to drink. But I agree with you 100%, because if there was some very matter of fact, this is how it's going to be. Because you don't want to have to say to grown men, hey, look, if you play on this team, you can't drink. Like, I mean, if they're providing a car, if you don't trust the car service with the NFL, there's Lyft, there's Uber.
That's cool.
You can find you, but yeah, I was gonna say, where's your friends?
Where are your friends?
Where's your friends?
You need good friends around you.
Yeah, because I got a home girl. She doesn't drink at all.
Right.
Never have. But it's like, and I know I can give him credit for pulling over and
Right.
just saying, hey, look, I can't drive any further, you know.
Right.
But it's like, come on, guy, like, and then because you are a player, they gonna come for you. They gonna come for you. And here's my thing. Are the guys that don't look like some of these other guys, are they drinking too?
Right.
I'm sure they are.
I'm sure they are. But obviously they're being smart about it.
Right. And like I said, I mean, you're a fourth round pick. Now that doesn't mean that you can't make it, but man, and it's such a long shot. And then now you have something like this. And then I think this is the type of stuff when it gets to the media, when it gets to court, all of it kind of starts to run together to where we're going to start making an example out of these cats. Like
Bingo.
Ruggs, he's in a minimum 2-year sentence. Like that, he has a 2-year minimum that he know he has to do.
Right.
That comes with that.
Right. Because
And
Vegas have no probation.
right. But here's the thing, Nikki. Um, he's going to get more than 2 years. If it was
Oh
my
yeah.
family member, I would want more than 2 years because my family member didn't just die; they burnt up.
Yep.
The people at the scene discuss how they heard her screaming,
In pain, trying to get out.
burning up.
Running up.
Right. So the outcome of it, I wouldn't be
Horrible way.
surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. He gonna get five between that 5 and 10. I think.
Yeah. And he's not gonna ever have money to do anything because they're gonna sue.
Yeah. Right.
They're gonna sue.
Absolutely. And
The family is gonna sue.
but I just think the what I like most about the old school cats, they really did look out for one another. Um, like you can take the great um, Lawrence Taylor.
Hmm.
It wasn't from a lack of effort. Even he talked about the the love and the care his teammates that they were trying to get him on track, trying to look out for him. And
Even Michael Irvin.
over here with my you know um Dexter Manley, like you know
Yeah.
we had some drinkers, but they would set it up such like they had the limo ready, they had the beer, all of his favorites ready to drink, picked him up, dropped him off, made sure he was okay.
Right.
But now this generation here too, now you can't really love them like you know you can't
They
really tell
different.
them too much.
They
and,
different.
and then when they get caught up in these type of situations, then they want love, and now they want to listen
But
because
do you think it could be some sorts of jealousy from other teammates saying, "Oh, I'm not going. Why should I help him? This could be my way up the ladder."
well, that's what I was going to say. I don't know if it's jealousy as much as it's just straight up cutthroat. I mean, hey, NFL not for long, and I'm looking for my opportunity.
So the thing. Right.
Now, what we all know what should happen. What should happen is the coach should put his foot down, and you know what? You're not playing. You're not
Right.
going to play
Right.
because you always got to look at the bigger, broader message that you're going to be sending, uh, and that hurts the team. They're already everybody's banged up. It's a long, grueling season, and they just barely making it. So, but next man up, and there may be another fourth or fifth rounder. Yeah, he's the fifth round pick. Excuse me, not fourth. He's the fifth round pick, and there's another fifth round pick on there. Like, okay, next man up, and show what you got.
Mhm.
And that's what I could respect and appreciate, that he was making the most out of his opportunity.
Right.
And then now this happens on
Right.
top of everything else, but we're going to follow the story. And like I said, thank you for bringing it to my attention. Antonio Brown.
I don't know. I just don't know what to say about maybe we've seen a lot of stories from him. Um, Unfortunately, this is the story
Of
and
all
this
stories.
stories, and unfortunately, I think this is the one that actually ends his NFL career.
Yeah, it's a wrap.
Yeah,
It's a
I
wrap.
think this is the one that ends his NFL career, and I just really hate it because he's so talented. You know, he's so talented. You know, he reminds me of the To and the Chad Johnson, but
Hmm.
without all the extra stuff with them.
Right.
A lot of they things happen in the locker room. You know,
Right.
um, not on the field. I don't know. I can't even remember as long as I've been watching football. If I can't even really remember, think of a player that did that.
Now, yeah, we seen something that, yeah.
We've seen something different. We've seen
Yeah,
something different.
yeah,
You
this
know,
was one of those. Wow.
you know,
Wow.
and it's so many stories out that I don't know the truth of it. We don't know the truth behind it. I know one of the stories is that they were trying to stop him from getting his extra money.
Okay, let's break that down. Let's
So
break
let's
that.
break that.
I'm gonna tell you why I think that is trash. Okay,
Yeah, I think it is.
you had three catches for no, four catches for 32 yards. Okay,
Mhm,
so you were halfway there on the eight catches that you needed for your
mhm,
333,000.
mhm,
Okay, you needed 23 more yards to
mhm,
get to the 55 yards that you needed to get your other 333,000. And
mhm,
you needed a touchdown to get the other, right? Okay.
mhm.
And you got a game against, my God, what's left of the Carolina Panthers next week. He wasn't benched. He was told to go back in the game. He refused to go back in the game. But see, that lets you know that something else is going on.
Going on.
But
Mhm,
what about now? Here's what I did a video, uh, and certainly being the counseling and in and around the mental health. Mental health is real, but he only really owes one person. I think. I think he really owes Tom Brady better than that. Finish,
that's what
finish
I
the
said.
game, man. Finish the game, man.
That's what I said. I was
I
like,
mean,
at the end of the day, this man is the reason why you got a job. He
right.
vouched for you. He moved you into his house to assure that you did what you were supposed to do as a player because he saw something in you to make him want to help you.
And got the
You know,
chip. Let's not forget that. And you got a
and you
chip
got the chip that you reason why you left Pittsburgh.
and had a great game.
You know, um, he
So
makes so many outfits.
I
Better.
don't think that that's what it was. I don't think that. Okay, let's say that is what it was. Let's
Uh-huh,
say he really believed that they were trying to
uh-huh,
freeze him out.
uh-huh,
Okay, let's go with that.
uh-huh,
Um, you still got to explain to me, why did they throw it to you at all, and why does it have to be this game when you
uh-huh,
have another game? Now, if you get to that last game
uh-huh.
and you get benched, now we're not talking about kind of like what Carroll did to Marshawn Lynch in the Super Bowl.
Correct.
Like that was shady. Um, we're not talking about. You remember Sean Alexander?
Mm-hmm,
You remember this career night that he was having,
mm-hmm. But you
and
see,
he was benched in the third quarter for the rest of the game, so he could not break the all time, all the
mm-hmm,
okay. But that's not what was really going on here. I think Antonio has, and then people like, oh, it's CTE. No, this guy has some narcissism, you know, there was reports like he didn't have to clean his hands when he was in college. This
Right.
is people that grew up with him in his circle around him, so um, you you can tell. You remember the rant that he did about his son on social media? Do you remember that? Like,
Maybe.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so no, I
I
just
remember all
think
of that.
I
When,
think it was a break. He had a break from reality. That's what
mm-hmm,
it looked like.
mm-hmm.
But you were saying you heard that, but I said let's break that down. I don't think it had anything to do with the contract piece like that. I don't.
No, because then ESPN reported, well, NFL Network reported and said, it says, so AB's leaving wasn't a random event. He was basically out during the game. So he left because he wouldn't play hurt. Arians told, they say Arians told the bold-faced lie to media when he was asked directly if this is to what led to AB leaving. Details on Antonio Brown telling Bruce Arians he was too injured to re-enter game and Arians trying to force him to play. When AB refused, Arians cut him immediately from the team and threw him off sidelines, which is why he left. Arians then lied to media. More to this story to come. So it's all type of drama going on.
Here's what I'm going to say, um, and I had to learn this because when you get to that D1 level, it's a business, and women's basketball wasn't as much of a business when I was coming through as it is now. Just because we had to leave the country in order to continue playing, in order to be paid. But I did find out at the collegiate level, to
Mm-hmm.
the degree that it was a business, you are trained to be able to play hurt. You can't play injured, but you can play hurt. And my whole thing is, why go out there at all? Why go out there at all? Or if you tweak something, and I'm gonna give credit where it's due. I don't know that I've ever known Bruce Arians to be like that.
Me neither. That's what I was about to say. I've never.
I
I
mean,
was. I don't know. It doesn't sound Bruce Arian type to me. And I know these coaches, and I know they do things behind the scenes, and I know things going on behind the scenes. That we don't know about all the time.
right.
But it's just he's been in the league so long, and I just feel like if this was something of his nature, we would have
It,
heard this way before now. At least something to this nature before now. Like with Gruden, everybody knew there wasn't nothing new for Gruden. You
right.
know, it was
Yeah.
just it was just a matter of time. I mean, look at the bull, all of the
Evidence.
bull
There was
crap
just
his brother
evidence.
did. All the things
Yeah.
his brother did when he was coach with y'all.
Right.
You
It's
know,
just evidence.
it
That's
was just
all.
evident. You know,
Right. Yeah.
but Bruce Arians, that's not something that I've heard of him from not even no teammates, no players
No player is even co-signing that. Like,
at all,
yeah,
at
it
all.
was that's okay, be that as it may. Be that as it may. That's what the doctors and the trainers are for. And
Hmm.
they're gonna tell you, excuse me, now you can't tell someone what they feel. I get all of that. Um, but they can tell when you're out there on the field if something is not right, how you're breaking on, if you're able to cut, you know. So uh, he needs some other intervention. He needs to be able to 100% focus on himself because he does have some children he's responsible for, and he needs to get as mentally and emotionally and physically healthy as possible to do that. He had a good run. He probably was sitting there rationalizing in his own mind, hey, I got a Super Bowl. He probably feels he has enough money to make it. He might be delusional enough to believe he's going to get on another team
Mm-hmm.
because you threw Tom Brady's kindness in his face. You might have could
I
have done it to somebody else, but you can't do the great Tom Brady that way.
exactly.
So it's a wrap.
Yeah, I don't see him getting back in the NFL after this. I don't.
I don't want him back, Nikki. Really, seriously. I'm just tired of uh, you know, I'm just tired of some of these guys, whether it's in or out of their control, whether it's mental health or not. Sometimes just go on. Even in the NBA with uh, Kyrie Irving. Okay, look,
Right.
either if you're not going to play, fine, and then get off social media.
Right.
Talking about he want to be the voice for the voiceless. Who the hell is the voiceless?
Right. Because nobody else saying nothing but you. I
you
mean,
know, so
nobody saying nothing but you.
yeah, so it's in what Brown. It has been what he's been on what 4 teams.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, like just
Everybody ain't got the same story for you.
right,
Everybody ain't lying.
right. At some point, it has to be you. And the one thing that I lean towards that says 100% narcissism, personality disorder is he's only ever taken rehearsed accountability.
Yeah.
He's never been genuinely sorry. Like he wants to try to screw over his chef. You don't ask this man to engage in illegal activity. You don't want to pay him. What you think he gonna do? Because, like to your point, they just think that they're so superior and entitled that oh he ain't gonna do nothing. He ain't gonna do nothing. What he's gonna do is rat you out, and here we are. But Bruce Aaron, what did they do? Because they, by right, I felt like they should have let him go then. I'm be honest with you,
Mm-hmm.
because those are felonies.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't have to. You don't have to engage in this. Just don't get vaccinated. And if you miss a game, you don't get paid. That's the rule.
That's the rule.
They respect the fact that not everybody want to do it. Okay, they pushing, trying to encourage, but you don't get paid. So that's my take on it. I think that uh, he has some type of I don't know psychosis or something that speaks to him and tell him to do these erratic things, paranoid, whatever. Something creeps in there, and that's what he goes with. And then how he did it. I mean, come on, like
And that's my thing. Even if you did want to do that, there wasn't a time. It's still about order and being decent. It's about order and being decent at the end of the day. If you didn't want to go back in the game, fine. Sit on the sideline. When the game is over, you let them know, hey, I'm not going back. I don't want to play anymore. Whatever the situation is, or however. Or you could have just went and told them you didn't want to play anymore. But you make some scene. Like, are you kidding me?
or
Take
how
your
about?
clothes off.
But you can't just lay down on the field, grab your ankle, and ask to be carried off because you can't put weight on it. If that's really what it is, you know.
I don't think that's what it was because you
Did you
see
see
him,
how he ran off
yeah, and then
and
you
how
see
he
him
was
standing waiting on his car. Yeah,
jumping up and down and everything? He had on them tight ass pants and those extra tight shoes, and I mean,
I know his grandma is like, I know they embarrassed,
yeah, he just checked out. And he's entitled to be tired of it,
and that's fine. But
and
don't
that's fine.
stop development of other players. Don't stop the
Selfish.
youth. Don't stop other players that's on his team that want a chance. Go about your business.
Well, that's the beauty because once again, Tom Brady Tom Brady throws a dart to some random guy, Bryson, whoever that is.
Right.
Next man up, and they did what they had to do, and you're on the outside,
And
looking in. But I do want him to seek help because I do believe something is severely wrong. When you start
yeah, I
throwing
think
away
it's worse. Mhm.
millions of dollars, something is wrong.
So I'm wrong.
Now, um, one thing that I can appreciate, and I told you this before, I don't get upset with Dallas, Dallas winning. I think there's reasonable, logical trash talk that happens. Whether it's a Dallas fan, Tampa Bay, Atlanta, if you're completely delusional about your team, that starts to just be aggravating. Like I'm not delusional about Washington. Like I've been going through this for almost 30 years.
Right.
I mean, until we get from under this black curse with Snyder, I think he's so grimy that I believe in karma. You can't do the dirt that you do and win Super Bowls. I just don't believe. I think it's so grimy that we're cursed to that degree. He's going to have to sell the team or something.
Mm-hmm.
And because in the poor decisions, they're constant. And when I did my video, when I said here's why Dallas will not win the Super Bowl, I went inside of the numbers. I said, hey, the defense has to stop giving up 25 points a game because it's a long season. You may not be able to continue to outscore everybody. There'll
Mm-hmm.
be injuries, there'll be COVID, there'll be a whole lot of stuff. And so that defense has to start shutting people down,
Mm-hmm.
get around that 15, 16 points,
Mm-hmm.
a game. That was the one thing I said. The other thing I said was, and then Dak has to stop disappearing for seemingly, because if he says I'm healthy, I'm not injured, I'm fine, okay, you have to stop disappearing. You have to stop. You're going to get bad calls. It's going to happen. It's just as sure as we talking. But if you start to look at, like in basketball, I've experienced some tough losses where yes, we got some tough calls, but
Mm-hmm.
when we go back and see that we were out rebounded by 12, we miss 8 free throws. You know, we were in the penalty. We gave them 30 free throws and they made 18. When you go peel back all the numbers, you can then add up those bad calls and then you realize, you know. And I told a guy, I told him, I said, look, last week you all smashed Washington. I don't care if it was injuries, COVID, or whatever. We got smashed, and there was nothing said about the referees. You know why? Because you all took the game completely out of the referee's hand.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk about winning a Super Bowl, you have to take the referees out of the game by your
Mm-hmm.
performance.
Mm-hmm.
You know, period. Now, and I hate Gallup got hurt, and that's not just a fluff loss. That's a bona fide possession needed receiver.
Mm-hmm.
And injuries happen, but that's me on the outside looking in. I want
Mm-hmm.
to hear it from you. What you think is going on, what you think needs to happen, and that's that. And then you can be as free as you want to. You don't have to worry about being in Facebook jail right here.
um, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot that's that's going on with the team. And for starters, for me, I always start off with the top,
Okay.
with the head, because what goes on at the top trickles down to the bottom. And
Clearly, you know that from Washington. Clearly.
so what goes at the top, what starts at the top, it trickles down at the bottom. But overall, I think we have our offense is the liability to this team. Defense, is a liability in some form of fashions and in some game, some plays. But overall, I have to say that defense keeps us in games, keeps us from
Right.
getting blown out, other than the Denver game. You know,
Okay.
once that spiraled out of control, there was no coming back, from that. But all the games that we lost by a total of 14 points.
Okay.
So for me, it tells me that defense is not as polished as they should be on some plays and on some calls and on some things, but they're doing enough to let you give your offense a chance to go out there and still compete and still be in this game. Your offense is
And
it's no balance.
and
It's
if I'm
no
not
balance.
mistaken, in those games that you lost, you were right around that 25 points a game or more that was given up. And
Right.
no Super Bowl team has won a Super Bowl that was giving up 25 points a game. Not saying it can't happen. We're just
Right.
talking about percentages,
Percentage.
likelihood.
Right. 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 Um, for one, I think the let's start with coaching. I think the coaching is horrible. For me, I was never a fan of Mike McCarthy to begin with. I think some of the lies, I think he told a lot of lies when he came for the interview. I think Jerry pulled the plug and pulled the trigger too fast on hiring someone. By no means I'm upset about him getting rid of Jason Garrett, but I feel as though
You
he
just
was under.
replaced him. You just replaced him with
That's
Jason
it.
Garrett.
Jerry was. I just feel he was under so much pressure from the fans that Jason Garrett had to go. That he had to feel like he had to make a statement or he had to make some kind of sort to say, okay, let me let the fans know that I hear them. I'm not ignoring them. We're going to change this. We're going to get this changed. We're going to get this fixed. I don't think he took the proper time to do what needs to be done for as coaching. I think for Mike McCarthy, he got sold on the fact that he came from Green Bay. He never lost to us. He won a Super Bowl, but you won a Super Bowl with one of the best quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers. So did you actually win the Super Bowl, or did Aaron win the Super Bowl with
Okay. Now
his
to your
own
point.
mind,
To
with his
your point.
own quarterback?
Right. And to your
Mind frame.
point, what has their record been since McCarthy has left? They have averaged 13 wins since McCarthy has left.
Mhm,
So we know, and that was in Aaron Rodgers. People were
mhm,
saying, oh, he's a prima donna. He's this, he's
mhm,
that.
mhm.
He understood this man don't know what he's doing, guys.
No,
And it was frustrating him.
no,
Yeah.
you
Okay.
know,
Okay. Fair enough.
time management is one of his biggest problems. And
Yeah, but Nikki,
have
that's all he has to. You have one job.
one job, but
You
he
have one
can't get
job.
it. He can't get it done. And I've said it all season. I said his poor time clock management, poor time clock management, poor timing with timeouts is going to cost us at a critical time in this season. I said it. I said it. I said it. I said it. I kept saying it. I've said it over and over again. I said he can't seem to manage time. He can't seem to manage timeouts. You know, um, but it's more. It trickles down to that. So now let's go to the play calling. So now you got Keelan Moore, who's supposed to be this offensive mind genius play calling, but you can't call plays against better teams. You could open the playbook and you can call all these dynamic plays
Nikki, you better be careful now. You know, Cowboy
to
fans don't
teams.
like when y'all go in on Cowboys. Now, you better be careful.
You can call all these dynamic plays to teams that's 500 and under 500 or injury riddled. But at the end of but you can't call plays to teams that's better. But what pisses me off more about it, Arizona didn't even have their top players yesterday.
I know.
You
On either
should
side of the ball.
should have torched both of those cornerbacks. You should have torched them both. Nothing you did showed that you could do that. You got the best route runner in Cooper on the field. You don't get him involved until the third quarter. You cannot. It's a problem. It's a problem when your tight end have more receptions than your number one receiver and your number two receiver and your first round draft pick receiver. That's a problem. That your tight end has more receptions than them. That lies within coaching.
Nikki, their best cornerback was making his third start.
Exactly.
Because that's what I said to myself. I said, well, both of their defensive ends were out.
Exactly.
And what I was saying was, damn, if they had DeAndre Hopkins, this might have gotten
This would
ugly.
be a blown out game.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah,
You know?
true.
Um,
Okay, let me ask you this question. It almost seems like to me that Cooper and Dak got some hidden beef that they know. You know how because we done had some shit happen with some friend girls, and you just kind of look at them like bitch, right?
mhm.
Okay, it's because I'm saying there was times yesterday where this man was stone cold wide open.
Well, I'm like, where's the communication?
Yeah,
Where's communication? And why is the ball
I don't
why
know.
is the ball being forced to the non-open player? Why? Why is the ball being forced? But this is why I found Dak at. Because you are supposed to be able to pick up the blitz, for one. For two, you should be able to dissect what the defense is doing. And if you need to change that play in a huddle or at the line of scrimmage, you should do that. You shouldn't have to signal to the sideline to say, oh, we need to change this play. You should be able to do that.
I don't blame him for the fumble. That was just a
It was a rare instance. It was a rare
well.
fumble.
I hate to say it this way, but I have to. That was
But you gotta
old.
hold the ball.
That was uh, like Micah. I love Michael Parsons because he reminds me of Isaiah Simmons, that number 9. Because he played at Clemson, my alma mater.
Mm-hmm.
He never stops. Because you see the play, he was beat. He reached for Dak. He didn't give up. He kept
Right.
hustling. That's what you want. You got to keep that motor going. I don't really blame Dak. That was, he just came down with force or whatever. Uh, I just, when I looked at what Arizona didn't have,
Yeah,
based on
that
what
was the
you all
most
had,
impressive. Exactly.
because I'm saying, I felt some kind of way. I'm like, damn, I know Dallas and Washington is a rivalry, but you all would have handed us the business. They were just as decimated as we were.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all want to take it easy? Well,
Mm-hmm.
they had a quarterback. I mean, Heineke is who he is. He's a spark plug. I mean, I like him from that standpoint. But
Mm-hmm.
I just,
Our
only thing,
O-line as well is not playing well. You know, O-line is not playing well at all. They're not blocking. They're not getting the push they need. They're not opening up the holes. And our center is horrible. He takes too long to hike the ball. And that inquires Dak to hold the ball too long. Then he's getting blowed off the ball. Before the play could even develop and before Dak could even set his feet, they're already coming through because y'all are not holding the line. We got a weak link on the line. I mean, but then every first down we get, it was called back because of a holding penalty, which is discipline.
legitimate holding calls, like,
Right.
and
Yeah.
that's like,
Right.
there
Right.
was
Yeah, they were
only
holding.
2 calls that I
That
can
was
honestly
questionable.
say this, like, are you kidding me?
Right.
Like the fumble, um, he absolutely fumbled the ball,
But the
but
delay of game,
in the delay of game, those two were absolutely. Ray Charles could see it. God rest his soul.
right?
But I also agree with the young man. See, when you have someone locked in like Parson that step up and say, shouldn't come down to that. I don't want to
It
hear nothing
should
about the
never.
referees. It shouldn't come down to that. That
Exactly.
lets you know his mindset is where it needs to be.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know, because all of that crying about the refs or whatever, fans can do that. But on the
Hmm.
field, you got to take the game out of the referee's hands based
That's
on
it.
your performance.
And that's one
Period.
of my standpoints I make every week. Play the game for yourself, and you don't have to worry about the refs. You cannot count on the refs to do anything or give you anything. You have to play the game for yourself, up front, out the gate, however. And with Mike McCarthy, you know, like I said, with the time management, it's just ridiculous because we didn't have a timeout to even challenge the fumble because you used the last timeout because we had 12 men on the field. We had the quarterback and the kicker on the field at the same time, which is common sense that that's not supposed to happen. So again, that starts with coaching. That's discipline. And with that being said, why not you at a critical part of the game? You always want to keep a timeout in case you can have a chance to do something. So with that being said, why would you use the timeout for that? It was only going to be a 5 yard penalty for the 12 men on the field. It was going to only be a 5 yard penalty. The 5 yards wasn't going to make no damn difference at that moment. You know, the defense went on to hold them to 3 points, but the point is 5 yard penalty. So
You
you
know,
chose that over a timeout.
and then the timeout with on the 4th and 5. First of all, you know damn well McCarthy, Arizona wasn't getting ready to go for it on 4th and 5. You know that.
Just
And
stupid.
okay, I can understand you being confused. The kicker's out there, Tyler Murray's out there. What's going on? Well, what was going on was what they wanted. They wanted to confuse you because
Confuse you.
you don't think that these coaches know McCarthy's strengths and weaknesses.
He gets out coached by the younger coaches every time he play a younger coach,
They're like, okay, watch this. He's gonna call a
and
timeout.
they fell for it,
And it's
and he fell
rules.
for it.
And it's the rules. You know, it now if it was under the 2 minutes, then the booth would have reviewed.
The Rules would have reviewed it. That's
You
right.
know, so you got to have the timeouts. Those are your coach know the rules, right? That's all part of it. And this is what I said, and this is how I feel about it. And this is just being a female player myself. You don't ever want to lose a game where your coaches are a major piece of why the hell we lost.
Yep.
I mean, like, because we depend on you to do scouting, clock management, timeouts. Like
That's
we
it.
depend on you to do your job.
That's it.
And when you don't, because they were hustling. You know why he fumbled the ball? They were hustling.
That
They
was trying to put the team on his back at that point.
Yeah, they were hustling. They cracked him. He fumbled the ball. Now you look like, oh shit, my coach done blew the timeout.
But it shouldn't have came down to the fourth quarter of that type of game. It shouldn't have came down to that.
No.
We scored 7 points and we didn't score again to the third quarter. There's too much offensive power on that team for that to happen. And then let's just go to the kicker. You know, let's go to the kicker. You got one job. You got
Well,
one
I
job.
know you. I know you said that you would welcome a AB from him right now.
You
Like
know,
if he just
you got
wanted
one
to.
job. Just go. Like at this point, just go. Just go. I mean, you have one job to do. And I said it sitting at the game. I said it. And when he missed that kick, I said, I could tell you how this game about to go. From that missed kick, from the first two penalties that we got from the first downs, and it got pushed back the first two holding calls. I said, I'm telling y'all right now how this game finna go. We're not gonna win this game. We're not gonna win this game. And I said it. Although I had hope, although I'm being a fan, I'm sitting there, I'm still cheering, I'm still rooting them on. When he missed that kick, that told me we
Here we
wasn't gonna
go.
win that
Here we
game.
go.
I
Yeah, here
said
we
because
go.
it's gonna come down to that kick. It's gonna come down to this missed kick. We're either gonna need that missed kick as a tying score to go to overtime, or we're gonna need that missed kick to make us be able to have won that game. And just like I said, it happened.
Okay, I'm going to ask you in conclusion, I'm going to ask you two questions before we wrap up. And I know I ain't got to worry about you just keeping it 100.
Hmm.
We know sometimes as African Americans, we do have to work harder, twice as hard to still maybe get less.
Hmm.
This is the first time that I heard openly with sports talk radio shows, uh, YouTube shows. Okay, well, Dak, you asked for all of this money. Games like that, when you still keeping the pressure on, see, because you don't know what's going to happen. You
Hmm.
got to keep that pressure on Green Bay for that number one seed, right?
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
because you're going to be compared to the greats. Well, look what Tom Brady did, and he has less talent. His Antonio Brown walked off the field. And
Hmm.
look what David Carr is doing.
Hmm.
And that you're gonna get that. You're gonna get that noise.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm also tired of Dak coming to the podium with the Russell Wilson. That's what I call the Russell Wilson, the kumbaya. What you're supposed to say is, yeah, it starts with me, and all of this confident. If you're so confident in your team, that Cooper shouldn't have to go to social media to remind you, "Hey,
That
I'm
he's
out.
number one.
Can you throw me? Can you throw me the pigskin?"
Hmm.
So my question to you is, because I think all of these guys deserve their money. It's a brutal sport, but
Hmm.
do you agree that we're paying you all this damn money? You gotta start closing some of these
Yeah,
games.
absolutely. You, in
Okay.
order to be, if you want to be in the category of an elite quarterback, and you want everyone to respect you as one, and you want the money that you were paid to be relevant to why you were paid, yes, you have to step up as a leader. Quarterbacks are going to always get the most riff of any loss. They're not going to get as much smoke as winning, because everybody, you won. So now you, everybody lost in the South on the win. But when a team loses, the quarterback is going to get the most rift of it, because at some point you're getting the money. You are the
You're
leader.
the
You are
head. Yeah, you're
supposed
the
to be
leader.
the leader of the
Yeah.
team, and you are supposed to be the one to go and say, "Hey, this is what we about to do, and this is how this is about to happen, and this is what's gonna happen. I'm finna step up and put my foot into this and go do what I'm supposed to do." Now, I agree that it's not all Dak,
Of
but I
course not. It's a
also
team
will.
sport.
It's a team sport. But I am gonna say that Dak is gonna get the heat of it, because as the leader of the team, as the player that everybody rally behind to get your money, and if you want to be an elite quarterback in this league, those are the teams you have to beat. Those are the teams that you have to win against. Period.
Well, and when you have seven miss throws,
Hmm.
and four of those seven were for first downs,
Hmm.
they coming for you.
Yeah.
They coming for you. Like, hey, you making all this money. Now you've been in the league
Yeah.
some 5 or 6 years. Now we
Here.
can give you that year one or two, but
Right.
year 5 and 6,
Right.
we need for you to close this out. Last thing before we get out of here, I appreciate you subscribing, becoming, Sports A Delic. Why don't you, tell everyone what, 3 stars talking about to your Cowboy fans if they're interested in getting involved. And and my question is, do you think TC gonna be mad at you or mad at me because he's not on here?
So 3 stars talking Cowboys is basically what it says. What the title is: me, Sean Fox, and Terrence Collins, which we call him TC. Um, we basically just break down.
So what do
the
we?
game.
But what do we? I'm sorry. What do we call Sean?
We just call him Fox.
We're not gonna really put out what we call him. Okay. All right.
No, no,
Okay.
no, we ain't gonna want all
Okay.
that down.
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So we
Go
are
ahead.
on Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. Central time. We do StreamYard, so we're live on Facebook, also IG. So basically, we just discuss, we break down the game from the week before, Cowboys game from the week before. We give our points and corners about the game, what was good, what was bad, what we need to do better, especially going into the playoffs.
Okay.
We also touch all the other games around the NFL. Who was good, who was bad, players that may be here next year, may not be here next year. But we also, most importantly, we discuss real life things that happens,
And
not
also,
only in the NFL world, anywhere in the world.
also,
Period.
and share with us because you all do a community service piece as well. Share about
Yep.
that.
We do community services. Well, of course, Sean is in Atlanta, so he has his club that does community service. I have my club that does community services. We go back to the homeless. Um, we give back to less fortunate kids. That need things, clothing, shoes. However, it's cold now, so we do blanket drives. We just do a lot. We do a lot as Cowboy
Yeah.
fans. Not even as Cowboy fans. Sometimes I just say as people.
Yeah.
You have
Humanitarians.
to treat
Yes.
people as people, because just because you are in this situation, just because you might be okay today, you could be
Right.
not okay tomorrow.
Absolutely.
So I always try to treat people the way that I want to be treated, because you never know who you're gonna need. You know,
Absolutely.
you never know who you're gonna need. But I know in this sports world, you meet people in all types of ways, and people think because we are different teams, we can't be friends. That's not so. We everybody have different teams. I don't expect everybody to be a Cowboy fan that I meet. You know, I don't expect that. But if we can talk sports and we can talk realistically and we can talk with sense with each other, not a problem. I have a
Right.
problem with those that don't want to see things in a realistic way. That's what I have a problem with. Those that don't want to see things in a realistic way.
You and I both. And I don't do well with men that don't seem to respect and appreciate that as a woman.
We
I'm
don't know
not,
what we're talking about,
yeah. So,
or we
yeah.
don't know what we're saying. That
Yeah.
pisses me out more than anything. Like,
Mm.
oh, you should be in the kitchen cooking. Well, guess what? I don't have to cook. I can go eat out every day. So
Well,
unless you can get on my level, then you right, you can't talk to me.
right.
So, but
That's when you're gonna end up in for real jail. That's why I just disengage. Okay, it goes
right,
beyond Facebook jail. So I'm like,
right,
you can have that.
right,
Hey,
right.
uh, Cowboys Nikki, thank you for coming on Sports A Delic, and I'm always open to come on you all show.
That's it.
Happy New Year again, and I'll be back in touch. And
Okay.
now I do what you hey. I want you guys somewhere between you all and the Falcons. I want one of you all, like I said, to win the Super Bowl because I'm tired of everybody, these crazy fans here, acting like y'all done won it already. I want y'all to win it, or I want the Falcons to win it, just so it can be a real
It could be a
thing.
riff and be a shut up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate you.
And just real quick, we doing a Cowboys Divas Beach Bash in May,
Okay,
Virginia Beach, May
okay,
19th through the 22nd. Everybody's welcome. All teams, it doesn't matter who you are. If you're not a football fan, it doesn't matter. Come out. Come out and
okay.
enjoy and have a good time.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you know who. All right.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you. Have a good
Thank
night.
you. You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.